Here is something the holiday companies will never tell you. Right now, somewhere along the Cornish coast, a 73-year-old is sitting on a cliff top with the sea glittering below her, and the whole day cost her nothing. Not the journey, not the entry, not even the flask of tea. Meanwhile, the couple beside her paid 40 quid for the same view. Number 14 on this list saves pensioners hundreds every summer, yet barely 1 in 10 have heard of it. And number 3, your local council quietly hopes you never find out about it. These 25 tricks turned ordinary state pension summers into something extraordinary. Before we start, tap subscribe, because what you're about to learn could change how you spend every sunny day from now on. Let us count down. Number 25. The 2-for-1 days out by rail. For decades, the cleverest day trippers have known about the little leaflets that sit by the ticket barriers, the ones nobody ever picks up. Buy a return train ticket to a city, present the voucher at over 100 attractions, and the second person walks in completely free. Zoos, gardens, towers, galleries, the lot. A pair travelling to London could see a famous attraction worth £18 each and pay for only one. The trick was always to plan the ticket and the voucher together, never separately. Couples who did this every fortnight through the summer saved more than the cost of their rail fares. The whole scheme depended on simply knowing it was there, printed in black and white, waiting on a rack while everyone walked past it. The savvy ones filled their bags with vouchers and treated the city as their own. Number 24. The senior rail card. That little card cost about £30 for the year, and to anyone over 60, it was the most profitable purchase they would ever make. A third off nearly every rail fare in the country, every single journey. One trip from the Midlands down to the coast and back could pay for the whole card in an afternoon. The real masters learned the rhythm of it, travelling after 9:30 in the morning when the off-peak fares kicked in, watching a £50 fare melt down to 15. They would buy in advance, stack the discount on top, and ride the length of England for the price of a pub lunch. Grandparents took the grandchildren to seaside towns and museum cities and came home having spent almost nothing on the bit that usually hurts the most. The card paid them back 100 times over. Number 23. The older person's bus pass. Here was the quiet jewel of British retirement. Once you reached the qualifying age, the local bus became free. Not cheaper, free. And not just to the shops, but to the next town, the next valley, the coast itself if the route ran that far. The cleverest pensioners studied the timetables like train spotters, working out how to hop from one free service to the next, stitching together a journey of 40 miles without spending a penny. A flask, a sandwich, a window seat, and the whole region opened up. Some made a sport of it, seeing how far they could travel on connecting buses in a single day, returning home at dusk, having watched the countryside roll past for hours. It was the most generous gift the country ever gave its older citizens, and the ones who used it daily got more out of summer than anyone. Number 22. The free national museums. Most people have forgotten or never knew that Britain's great national museums charge nothing at the door. The big collections in London, the maritime museums, the science halls, the galleries hung with paintings worth fortunes, all of it open for free. A pensioner could spend an entire rainy afternoon among dinosaurs and old masters and pay only for a cup of tea, and even that they often brought from home. The trick the regulars used was to treat one museum as a returning friend rather than a single conquest, visiting a different wing each time, never rushing, never exhausting themselves. They knew the quiet hours mid-morning on a weekday, when the school parties had not yet arrived and the great halls were almost theirs alone. Free entry to some of the finest collections on earth, and most summers it sat there unclaimed. Number 21. The Library Culture Pass. This is the one almost nobody believes is real. Many local libraries hand out free passes to nearby museums, galleries, and historic houses, the sort that normally charge a tenner at the gate. You borrow the pass the way you borrow a book, take the family along, and walk in for nothing. Libraries also ran free talks, film afternoons, local history groups, and craft mornings, all of it warm, all of it free, all of it staffed by people glad to see a familiar face. The pensioners who treated the library as a base camp rather than a bookshop discovered a whole hidden network of days out. A reservation made on Monday became a free trip on Saturday. It was the best-kept secret on the high street, sitting between the returns desk and the large print shelf, and hardly anyone ever asked. Number 20. The Free Cathedral and Evensong. Britain's cathedrals are some of the most breathtaking buildings ever raised, and a great many of them ask for nothing more than a small voluntary donation. Step inside on a summer afternoon, and the cool stone, the stained glass, the centuries of quiet press in around you. The real connoisseurs went for Evensong, the sung evening service, where a full choir filled the vaulted ceiling with sound that no concert hall could match, and it cost not a single coin. They would arrive early, sit in the choir stalls, and let half an hour of music wash over them as the light faded through the windows. No ticket, no booking, no queue. Just an open door into 1,000 years of craftsmanship and a choir singing as if the building itself demanded it. For the price of a polite donation, an hour of pure splendor. Number 19. The Silver Screen Mornings. Most cinemas ran special morning showings for older audiences, sometimes called silver screenings, with tickets at a fraction of the evening price and a free cup of tea and a biscuit thrown in. The film was often a classic or a recent release. The lights came up gently and the volume sat at a civilized level. For £3 or so, a pensioner got a comfortable seat, a hot drink, a couple of hours of escape, and a room full of people their own age to chat to afterwards. The clever ones turned it into a weekly fixture, a standing date with friends, the highlight of a quiet Wednesday. While everyone else paid double for an evening showing crammed with teenagers and overpriced popcorn, the morning crowd had the whole place to themselves, warm, cheap, and unhurried. Number 18. The Free Over 60s Swimming. Plenty of council leisure centres let the over 60s swim for free or close to it during the quiet daytime hours. Lane after empty lane, warm water, no crowds, and not a penny to pay. The regulars knew exactly which sessions were free and which were not, and they built their week around them. A gentle swim, a sit in the sauna where one was offered, a natter in the changing rooms, and home again feeling 10 years younger. Some councils threw in free use of the gentle gym classes too, the seated ones, the aqua aerobics, all aimed squarely at keeping older bodies moving. It was health and company, and a proper outing rolled into one, and it asked nothing in return. The pensioners who swam 3 mornings a week through summer were the fittest and the cheeriest on the whole street. First pattern break. Here is where the savings get serious. Number 17. The National Trust Car Park Trick. Membership of the National Trust cost a set fee for the year, and on the surface it bought you entry to grand houses and gardens. But the regulars knew the real value lay in the car parks. Trust car parks sit beside some of the most spectacular coastline, woodland and clifftop walks in the country, and non-members pay handsomely to leave the car there. Members park free. A couple who walked, who loved a proper coastal ramble, would use those free car parks all summer long, never even entering a house, and the membership paid for itself in parking alone within a month. Add in the free entry to the houses and gardens on top, and the maths became absurd. They treated the whole coastline of Britain as their back garden, and the only cost was the annual fee, spread thin across 100 glorious days. Number 16. The English Heritage Free Days. Much like the Trust, an English Heritage membership unlocked castles, abbeys, Roman ruins, and ancient stone circles up and down the land. But the trick the canny ones used was the free open days, when certain sites threw their gates open to everybody for nothing at all. They marked those dates in the diary the way others marked birthdays. A medieval castle, a clifftop fortress, a 1,000-year-old priory, all free for a single weekend. Members got it all year, of course, but even non-members could feast on the free days if they planned ahead. Pensioners with a passion for history built entire summers out of these, moving from ruin to ruin, picnic in the boot, learning the story of Britain stone by stone. It was the cheapest way ever devised to walk through 1,000 years of the country's past. Number 15. The RHS Garden Days. The Royal Horticultural Society's great gardens are among the finest in the world, and members wandered them as often as they liked for the price of a single annual subscription. But here was the cleverness. The RHS also ran free days at partner gardens, hundreds of them scattered through the season. A member could visit a different spectacular garden nearly every week of summer without paying again. The flower beds at their peak, the glass houses dripping with colour, a tea room for a sit-down, and a long, slow afternoon among the blooms. For a keen gardener, it was paradise on a budget. They would time their visits to catch the roses in June, the borders in July, the late colour in August, treating the membership as a season ticket to beauty itself. One fee, an entire summer of the country's greatest gardens. Number 14. The Open Gardens Scheme. This is the one that saves the keen ones a small fortune, and almost nobody outside the gardening world knows it runs. Through the summer, ordinary people open their own private gardens to the public for a small charity donation, often only a couple of pounds, with homemade cake and tea on the lawn. The directory of open gardens reads like a treasure map. A pensioner could spend a whole season visiting beautiful, lovingly tended private gardens they would otherwise never see, for the price of a few coins in a charity tin. The cake alone was often worth the trip. They would make an afternoon of it, 2 or 3 gardens in a village, a slice of Victoria sponge in each. Neighbours met, cuttings swapped. It was the warmest, cheapest, most British day out imaginable, and it happened on quiet lanes all summer long. Number 13. The canal towpaths and national trails. Britain is laced with thousands of miles of canal towpaths and long-distance walking trails, every one of them free to walk for as long as your legs will carry you. The towpaths run flat and gentle, perfect for older legs, past locks and narrowboats and waterside pubs. The coastal paths and the great national trails open up cliffs, moors and river valleys that no ticket could ever buy. The walkers among the pensioners knew that the finest scenery in the country carried no charge at all. A flask, stout shoes, a map borrowed from the library, and the whole landscape was theirs. They would walk a stretch one week, catch the free bus back, and pick up where they left off the next. Mile by mile, free of charge, they saw more of Britain than most tourists ever do. Number 12. The Wetland and Bird Reserves. The wildlife reserves and wetland centres dotted around the coast and countryside were a quiet joy, and many offered free or heavily reduced entry to older visitors, with some open free entirely. Hides looking out over marsh and water, birds wheeling overhead, a slow, peaceful hour with a pair of binoculars. The regulars learned which reserves cost nothing and which gave generous concessions, and they followed the seasons, the spring arrivals, the summer broods, the first autumn flocks. It was gentle, absorbing, and easy on both the body and the purse. A thermos, a fold-out stool, and an afternoon watching the water was all it took. For the cost of nothing or next to nothing, they had front-row seats to the best wildlife theatre in the country, and the only ticket required was a little patience and a quiet voice. Number 11. The country parks and free woodlands. Every county hides a string of country parks, forests and commons that charge nothing at the gate, only sometimes a modest fee for the car, which the bus pass made irrelevant anyway. Vast stretches of woodland, lakeside paths, picnic meadows and play areas for visiting grandchildren, all of it free to roam. The clever pensioners kept a mental map of the ones with a decent cafe and a flat path, and they rotated through them so no 2 weeks felt the same. A summer of fresh air, birdsong and big skies, and the only money that ever changed hands was for an ice cream the grandchildren insisted on. They knew that the best things in the British landscape were never behind a ticket booth at all. They were standing wide open, waiting, asking only that somebody come and enjoy them. Second pattern break. This next one councils would rather keep quiet. Number 10. The resident discount cards. Here is what the town hall does not put on a poster. Many councils issue residence cards or leisure cards that unlock free or cut-price entry to local pools, museums, parks, theatres and events, sometimes free parking too. They exist, they are funded by your own council tax, and yet they go almost entirely unclaimed because nobody is ever told they are there. The pensioners who marched into the library or the leisure centre and simply asked walked out with a card that paid for itself within a fortnight. Some cards stacked discounts on attractions miles away through reciprocal schemes. It was money the council had already set aside on your behalf, sitting unused because the application form was buried 3 pages deep on a website nobody reads. The ones who knew to ask got a summer of cheap days out that their neighbours paid full price for. Number 9. The seaside in the shoulder season. The seaside is at its best when the crowds have gone, and the canny pensioners knew it. Travel in June before the schools break up, or in September after they go back, and the same resort that fleeces summer families turns gentle and cheap. The free bus or the discounted train carried them there. The promenade was theirs to stroll, the deck chairs were half the price, and the fish and chips no longer came with a queue. Off-season, the whole town relaxed. The landladies offered better rates, and the beach stretched out almost empty under a soft sun. They had learned the simple truth that retirement freed them from the school calendar entirely, so they let everyone else fight over August and took the quiet, cheaper, kinder weeks on either side. The sea did not charge extra in peak season, only the people did. Number 8. The free guided town walks. In towns and cities across the country, volunteer guides lead free walking tours through the old streets, sharing the history, the scandals, the hidden corners that no guidebook mentions. Tip-based or entirely free, they offered hours of entertainment and a proper stretch of the legs, led by enthusiasts who knew every cobble. The pensioners who sought them out got the city explained by someone who loved it, learning the stories behind buildings they had passed for 50 years without a second glance. Some towns ran themed walks, the ghosts, the docks, the old trades, a different one each week. It cost nothing but a polite thank you, and often the guide was a retired local glad of the company. A morning's free education and exercise finished off with a tea somewhere cheap, and the whole town suddenly felt new again. Number 7. The architecture open weekends. Once a year, often more, towns and cities open the doors of buildings normally locked tight to the public, and it is all completely free. Town halls, livery halls, private clubs, working studios, grand offices, the lot, thrown open for a weekend, so ordinary people can wander inside. The pensioners who watched for these dates got to stand in rooms most people never see in a lifetime, climb towers, peer into council chambers and craftsmen's workshops, all without paying a penny. They planned their route in advance, picked the buildings they had always wondered about, and made a grand day of it on foot. It was a rare chance to go behind the locked doors of their own town, guided by volunteers bursting with pride. The only thing required was to know it was happening and to turn up. Number 6. The Houses of Parliament Tour. Few people realise that you can write to your own Member of Parliament and request a free tour of the Houses of Parliament, that great riverside palace of pinnacles and clocks. Constituents are entitled to it, and a polite letter often secures a guided walk through the historic halls, the chambers, the lobbies where the country is run, all at no cost. The pensioners who fancied a grand day in the capital combined it with the free national museums and the discounted train, and built a day out of national splendour for almost nothing. They stood where prime ministers stood, gazed up at hammer-beam ceilings, and walked out feeling they had seen the very heart of the country. It was perhaps the grandest free attraction in Britain, hidden behind nothing more than the willingness to put pen to paper and ask. Number 5. The U3A outings. The University of the Third Age was the best-kept social secret in retirement. For a tiny annual fee, members joined groups for everything from local history to rambling, art to birdwatching, and crucially, they organised regular days out, share-cost trips by coach and rail to gardens, ruins, coasts and cities. The pensioners who joined found themselves swept up in a calendar of cheap, well-planned outings with ready-made company. No need to organise anything alone, no need to find a travelling companion, just turn up and go. The shared transport split the cost down to coppers. and the knowledge in the room meant every trip came with its own expert. It turned solitary retirement into a full social diary of affordable adventures, and the friendships made on those coach seats often outlasted everything else. A few pounds a year bought a whole community of days out. Third pattern break. Here is the little loophole nobody admits to. Number 4. The garden centre afternoon. The big garden centres became unlikely day-out destinations, and the thrifty pensioners worked out exactly why. The cafes were warm, the cake was generous, the tea refilled cheaply, and many ran free events, demonstrations, seasonal displays, and craft fairs that cost nothing to wander. Some had aquariums, animal corners, or model railways tucked at the back, free entertainment for a visiting grandchild. The regulars treated it as a free conservatory, with a tea room attached, somewhere bright and comfortable to pass a grey afternoon among the plants and the seasonal sparkle, buying perhaps a single packet of seeds to feel they had paid their way. The loyalty cards stacked up points that turned into free coffees down the line. It was never about the gardening. It was a warm, free, comfortable destination on the bus route, and they used it shamelessly, exactly as the clever ones always had. Number 3. The free bandstand summer. This is the one councils quietly fund and almost never trumpet. All summer long, parks across the country host free concerts, brass bands on the bandstand, open-air theatre, festivals and fetes, all paid for out of the public purse and all free to attend. The pensioners who knew the local listings filled their summers with music under the trees, deck chair brought from home, picnic in the basket, an afternoon of proper entertainment for nothing at all. Brass bands on Sundays, jazz on the green, summer fairs with stalls and parades. They knew which parks ran which events, and they followed them like a touring schedule. While others paid £40 for a concert ticket, the bandstand crowd sat in the sun with a sandwich and heard live music for free, week after week, all season. The whole summer was a festival, if you only knew where to look. Number 2. The senior coach card. For the longer journeys, the coach was king, and the over-60s coach card knocked a third off long-distance fares that were already cheap to begin with. A trip the length of the country, to a distant city or a far-off coast, came down to the price of a few pints. The pensioners who wanted to travel further than the free bus would carry them, use the coach to reach the great cities, the cathedrals, the seaside towns at the other end of the map, and they did it for a fraction of the rail fare. Booked in advance with the discount stacked on top, an epic journey cost almost nothing. They treated the whole country as reachable, packing a flask and a book and settling in for the ride. For those who refused to let retirement shrink their world, the discounted coach kept the entire nation within reach. And finally, number 1. Heritage Open Days. This is the crown jewel, the one that turned a single autumn week into the richest free days out in the entire calendar. For Heritage Open Days, thousands of buildings, gardens, monuments and hidden places across the country open their doors completely free, places that are locked or charge admission for the other 51 weeks of the year. Castles, churches, factories, follies, secret gardens, private houses, ancient halls, all thrown open for nothing. The pensioners who built their year around it studied the program like a battle plan, mapping out which treasures to see and in what order, free entry to attraction after attraction, day after day. It was the country unlocking itself, handing over its history as a gift to anyone willing to walk in. No ticket, no charge, no catch. Just a week when all of Britain became free, and the ones who knew filled their boots while everyone else stayed home. So there it is, 25 tricks, and every one of them real, every one of them sitting there waiting to be used. Here is my challenge to you. Pick just one this week. Pick up the rail vouchers nobody touches. Ask the library about the culture pass. Write to your MP. Then come back and tell me in the comments which one gave you your best free day out, because I want to know whether the bus pass crowd beats the Heritage Open Days lot. Your generation worked a lifetime for these gifts. The least you can do now is use every single one of them. Subscribe and go and have yourself a free summer.